NBC's Pete Williams covers the Justice Department. Pete, this investigation into the Minneapolis Police Department, it goes far beyond this Floyd case.
Absolutely right. It'll look, as you said earlier, at whether Minneapolis police have a pattern or practice of using excessive force, and that includes during protests. It'll look at how police treat people with behavioral problems and whether the police illegally discriminate in how they enforce the law. And the Justice Department lawyers will examine how the officers are trained, how they're supervised, and whether and how they're held accountable when there is misconduct. These investigations can take months, and when this one is over, the government will issue a public report and then negotiate a reform agreement. Now, typically, the police department and the government will go to court together and make it formal with a consent decree, and often the court will appoint an independent monitor to make sure that the police department lives up to its commitments. If the police refuse to make changes, then the Justice Department can sue them in court and get a judge's order that would require them to adopt the reforms. In this case, the police chief in Minneapolis is already saying that he welcomes the investigation because he thinks it will help him make the kind of reforms that he already has in mind. The Justice Department was given the authority to do these investigations by Congress in 1994 following the widespread public protests over the televised police beating of Rodney King. And since then, the government has conducted about 70 investigations, resulting in about 40 reform agreements. But these investigations slowed to barely a trickle under the Trump administration. When Jeff Sessions was the Attorney General, he made it much tougher to conduct them because he thought they did more harm than good. And then last Friday, Attorney General Merrick Garland rescinded that Sessions ruling, and that restored the policy to what it had been for the past few decades, Shep.
Pete Williams, thank you.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.